Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. I'm pretty excited because finally I get to talk about the third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Loot Crate. From what I hear, there's some pretty cool stuff in here, not to mention some brand new action figures of Bebop and Rocksteady. Of course, they're variants, but we could always use more and more variants of Bebop and Rocksteady, right? It's pretty cool. I gotta say that in 2021, we're getting multiple Bebop and Rocksteady figures. That's awesome. So I'm going to open this up and let's take a look and see what's inside. So first off, I got to say that this thing is massive. This box is huge. There's two NECA figures in here, and it's a lot bigger than the past two Loot Crate boxes. There, come on. Whatever. That's good enough. So inside, you have a Channel 6 baseball cap. Very nice. It's a little dirty, but okay. A Channel 6 ceramic mug. Now, I think this is pretty awesome. This very cool Mondo Gecko t-shirt. I love that t-shirt. Let's see what it's, come on. There we go. Ooh, brand new pins. And I gotta say, this makes me excited and optimistic about the future because look, on the left, that's a Crooked Ninja Turtle gang mask, and on the right, that's that one mutant from Bebop and Rocksteady's gang who shows up in a first, or like maybe two episodes of the original series and then kind of disappears. I've always wanted to see more of this guy, so it'll be awesome if NECA finally gives us a toy of this this bat mutant. What is this? I don't know, is this a sticker or is this just a thing to put up? But this is pretty cool too. This is wanted posters. You got some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters from the cartoon. Scrag. Scrag is that bat mutant. So you can see here you got Scrag as a human and then how he looks when he's a mutant. And some of these guys I do remember from the cartoon. I just have to go back and watch it and brush up on things a little bit. Like Don Turtelli, what's that? Mad Dog McMutt, Big Louie, Mr. Big, Jersey Red. I think it'll be very cool, like this. Hopefully this is kind of like a hint to the future, maybe we'll see some of these obscure mob characters. But first, give me the mutants. I also have to mention too that is not Don Turtelli. This is Don Turtelli, and he looks very different. And so I know that the person on the wanted poster is somebody else, but I don't remember exactly who he is. Then you just got this cool little card in here to show what's inside. Yep, it's that wanted poster sticker sheet. That's cool. Now that is an awesome piece of artwork right there. This is a notebook, and like I said, that picture of the Shredder is just fantastic. Doesn't say who Zozo. Freddy? I don't know. But that's awesome. All right, and now the main event here. We've got Rocksteady and Bebop, or Bebop and Rocksteady like everybody usually calls them. Like, you can't call them Rocksteady and Bebop. That's not the right order. I was pretty excited to get these guys because, I love Bebop and Rocksteady, and I just think it's cool that we're in a year where we're getting multiple different versions of Bebop and Rocksteady. A month ago, I got the Super 7 Ultimates Bebop. Hopefully, in a couple months, we'll get the Super 7 Ultimates Rocksteady. In a couple months, we'll be getting Pirate Bebop and Rocksteady from Turtles in Time. And, until then, we can have these awesome bunny suit Bebop and Rocksteady action figures to hold us over. That's just awesome. Who knows if we'll see some more Bebop and Rocksteady figures. Do you want me to say Bebop and Rocksteady any more times? I will if you want me to. So these guys come in these awesome, big window packages. Just like all the other NECA action figures, they have this huge window so you can see the figure inside. It's pretty cool to see these because this is the style of the 2-packs. And now finally we get single pack figures with this style. All the other single pack figures like Krang and Metalhead had very specialized boxes. They don't match the other figures in the line. So these ones will match. if you ordered Loot Crate boxes 1, 2, and 3 separately, you got Bebop with the third Loot Crate. If you ordered them all in one bundle, 1, 2, and 3 at the same time, you got the extra Rocksteady as a bonus figure. So that's pretty awesome. I lucked out and, got that before they all sold out. And, that's great. I've been pretty excited for a while to see these guys in person because, I was always wondering how they did the heads. Did they just wrap something around the regular figures, or did they make like sort of like a brand new sculpt with this, hood on their heads? So it'll be cool to take a look and see how it all goes inside when I open them up. On the sides, you just have pictures of the action figures. They both have the docilizer ray, which I'll explain a little more about that once I've pulled these guys out. And on the back, what I think is really awesome about these, let me straighten that out a little bit. What's really awesome is if you have this huge cross-sell of all the figures so far. So, all the other, the 2 packs, they only have like 3 little squares down at the bottom to show you like the 3 figures that come around the same time. Here you finally have like a checklist of every character, except for Rat King and Vernon. They're not on here yet. So maybe they planned all this out before they had them ready. And then what's not out yet is the Ultimate Foot Soldier, but he's down here. So can you explain that? But yeah, I think this is really cool. So I'm going to open these guys up and see if anything needs warmed up, move them around, and talk to you in a minute. So here they are, Bebop and Rocksteady in their bunny suits out of the package. And first I got to say they are cool, but they are not without faults. What kind of faults? Well, how's that? Come on already. This is such a bummer. So for whatever reason, these Bebop and Rocksteadies, they still have the old, articulation in the pelvis area, which is not great. I think it's pretty bad because, it's really hard to move these. The problem is I cannot rotate the thighs around this piece right here, right? So when you're trying to move it, eventually, if you're not careful, and I did try to warm these up with warm water too, that piece just snaps off. And it just sucks because we're past that already. NECA has already been releasing figures for the past year with better articulation in the pelvis. You see, for the past year or so, a lot of the NECA figures have this kind of pelvis now, where you actually have balls on the end of it, and that little piece in there rotates around the ball. That's perfect. Because even if you can't get this joint to move around, it still rotates around on that ball. That works out well. So you have a double, swivel here in the pelvis area, and that's just, like I said, that's perfect. Why didn't they do that? But they didn't. They still have this old system here that was on the original Bebop and Rocksteady action figures, and I thought that they were phasing out of that because of that problem. These old figures have that too, and it's I barely ever swivel the hips because you're worried that, you're going to break it. So stuff like that just stinks because it's you waited all that time for this Loot Crate to show up at your house, right? And then as soon as you start moving it, it breaks. And it's not like you can easily just go to the store and replace these. I don't know if you can replace things on Loot Crate. I've contacted them. We'll see. But, I don't have much faith in it because when I bought my Krang Android body, he didn't come with a hand, and I contacted NECA to try to get a replacement for it, and they didn't have any replacement parts. So I'm sure that the Loot Crate ones probably don't have any kind of replacement parts either, and that's a bummer because what are you gonna do then? It's you spent all that money, and you want your products to be good. I really like what NECA does. I love the style of their toys. I think in general, they just add so many different things in here. I'm going to get into it more, the accessories, the docilizer ray, and even these Easter baskets are, absurdly accurate to the cartoon, right? But it's just, when you can't even move the figures without fear of breaking them or something like that, that's just such a letdown. I hope that in 2021 we can get past this and, we can get those pelvises like I showed you on that Triceraton, and some of these other things can hopefully get ironed out a little bit here. So luckily They both have the same exact body, so I can mostly show everything with Rocksteady. Although I didn't get this leg to rotate because it's stuck, and I'm not going to risk, snapping that one. So first, let's talk about the heads. I was really curious how they were going to do this. If they were going to, like, mold, give you, like, the whole sculpt of the head and just kind of have a hood sculpted on top of that. I can't really tell, but I'm guessing that, they probably have some of this head inside of here, but some of these things are missing. I'm sure the ears aren't in there and the mohawk isn't in there because you wouldn't be able to have this hood flat on the head like that if it was in there. You can't really move the glasses like you can on this one. And I couldn't tell too if you're supposed to move the mouth or not. I've been trying to move it down a little. Well, yeah, I guess this one's fine. I couldn't get the Rocksteady one to move, but this one is moving very well. But it's just really cool, It's pretty much the exact same sculpt. For Rocksteady here, you got, like I said, it's the same exact thing. I'm sure he doesn't have those ears inside of there. But, it's cool. I can't get this mouth to move, really. It's, I don't know. This one, like I said, you can move the Bebop one pretty well, but this one just will not budge. So if we're going to take a look and see how many reusable parts this guy has, I think that maybe his body is closest to Leatherhead. Of course, he doesn't have the tail in the back, but the legs are very similar, because he doesn't have the pouches or anything like that, or the strap around Bebop's leg. So I would say that the leg here and the knees are the same as Leatherhead. And it looks as though, like the shin area is the same. Although this one has a little bit of extra detail. There's little tiny wrinkles scratched into here. Pretty much everything else is the same, though. You even have the same wrinkles on the side of his legs. Pretty much all the NECA figures have the same arms from the biceps to the forearms. And on these, and if you've ever noticed, all of NECA's toys so far from the Ninja Turtle line, because of the design in the shows, they all have wristbands. So on these figures that don't have wristbands, you have this little tiny box where that wristband would plug in there. And, even way back on the original Bebop, he doesn't have that wristband. He just has the chain around here. But you can see that little box there of where that hole is plugged in. So, the biggest thing here is that, like I said, he's got the same arms, the biceps and the forearms, but the shoulders are different because they gave him these little, like, furry shoulders. And, of course, just like all the other NECA figures in this size, I'm pretty sure that they have the same torsos underneath this, and then they just kind of put, like, an overlay on top of it. And, this just looks great. This looks just like the cartoon, and it just really looks like a big, bulky bunny costume. And on the back here, you have a very nice tail. That's pretty cool looking. And then on the bottom, you have brand new bunny feet. So if you take a look at Bebop and Rocksteady in the cartoon, you'll notice that, they have white in the front, and then in the back they have kind of like that gray shading, like on the sides of their arms and their bodies. And even on the middle part where it's pink there, you can see like the stitches going across. And now if you take a look at the toys, you'll notice that they're pretty much exactly the same way. Like, that's pretty awesome. I do appreciate that on these sculpts. The hoods are different, at least. Like, Rocksteady's kind of comes down a little more underneath his mouth. And their ears are a different shape. Like, that one kind of goes up, and this one's kind of creased and forward a little bit. So that's cool. So in general, like, I think they did a fantastic job with these guys. I think they look good. I think just the details and the little tiny creases and, bits of fur where it's supposed to be fur just looks really nice. I'm just kind of bummed out because the leg broke. Like I said, that's very disappointing. But, when it comes to articulation, he has just the standard NECA big guy articulation where, the head is kind of on a ball joint. You can move it around as well as you can. It's like blocked a little bit. You can only move up and down so much. Like I said, his mouth doesn't really move, but Bebop's his moved. The shoulders can have, they can swivel around and they have a hinge in there so you can bring them out and up and down. The biceps here rotate around. You got double jointed elbows. So, but I don't know, these are tricky too. They do work okay. The wrists here have a swivel and a hinge. You have no articulation in the upper torso and the waist. You know, there probably is some underneath there, but because of the way that this is built, you can't get to it. You're not going to be able to do anything with that. So, you know, you got to move to the hips here. And like I said, you can rotate out this direction. You can rotate down. You can rotate forward. On some of these legs, you can actually twist the hip around that joint. Can't do it on this, and I can't get either one of these, you know, without get that to work. You have double jointed knees, and the knees work pretty well. And then you have a hinge here, and you know you have ankle rockers on the leg or on the feet, so that's all good. That works pretty well. I really like the look of these guys a lot, and I just think they're hilarious. You know, there's just something so funny about seeing a giant hulking Easter bunny with a rhino face or a warthog face pounding on a Ninja Turtle. Like, that's the craziest thing like I could think of. Both of these guys came with the same sets of hands. You know, they have 3 sets of hands apiece, and you know, 6 hands altogether. And all their hands, the shapes of them are exactly the same that we got with the earlier Bebop and Rocksteady and the 2 Leatherhead figures. But some of them have the cool little bunny rabbit dot on their palm print, so that's cool. First up, you have a set of, you know, punching fists. You can pound your turtles in the spirit of Easter. You have a right hand with a trigger finger and a left hand with a smaller grip so you can hold smaller items like the communicator. You know, that way you can shoot your enemies while you're talking to your best buddy on the phone. And there's also a pair of open palm hands, and you can get a lot of expressions out of these, which is great. You know, you could do a lot of good things with them, especially like if a Ninja Turtle cut your leg off and you're falling backwards and you're flailing your arms around and you're like, "What happened to me?" So that brings us to the Docilizer Ray, and both Bebop and Rocksteady came with a Docilizer Ray, and you can see it in the cartoon right here. Very nice. And now back at the toy, you can see that it's very similar to what it looks like in the cartoon. Maybe the colors are a little different, but in general, it's the same basic shape, and you know, it looks pretty good. Like I said, both Bebop and Rocksteady come with this. And basically, the Docilizer Ray is just used to make people timid. You shoot them with this, and they become very wimpy. Next up, you have the Easter egg baskets that Bebop and Rocksteady have. And you know, this is one of those items too where you're like, you look at it in the cartoon here, and then you come back to the toy and it's like, they made them exactly how they should be. Like the pink one with the red eggs with the yellow lines, and the purple one with, you know, these colored eggs. Like, that's crazy, you know? So stuff like that is awesome that NECA does. Although, if you looked at that shot, you would have noticed that Bebop here was holding the pink one, and Rocksteady was holding the purple one. But things aren't always consistent in those old Ninja Turtle cartoons, because here's a shot of Bebop holding the purple one. So, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter. But, you know, like, when you get back to these things, it does look, they do look awesome. The amount of detail on them is just great. So, you know, that's all great. So, these bunny suits and the Docilizer Ray and the Easter egg baskets, they all appear in the Season 5 episode, The Turtles and the Hare. Although most of the times you can find the episode on the Season 4 DVD box set, and I think even on Amazon it's listed under Season 4, but it's way at the end, it's episode 40. So in that episode, pretty much what happens is Krang creates the Docilizer Ray so that he can go and do something to Channel 6 to, you know, take over the world. Same basic Krang stuff as usual. The Dossilizer Ray is used by Bebop and Rocksteady to turn the people of Channel 6 into a bunch of wimpy weaklings. And Donatello realizes that the only way to get rid of the effects of the ray is he needs a ceranium crystal refractor. And one doesn't exist in our dimension. So the turtles have to go to a different dimension that's made up of, it's like a fairy tale dimension where they meet Hokum Hare. And, you know, stuff, excitement and adventure ensues and turtles win, you know. So if you want to check out the episode, check it out. It's not, I think to me, you know, that's one of those episodes later on that wasn't as good as the earlier episodes, especially the animation quality is a little low. But, you know, if you want a fun Easter cartoon, check it out. If you have the original Bebop and Rocksteady, no surprise, they have the same bodies as them, like I said earlier. And, you know, so they're the same exact scale as them. And here are the two maniacal Easter Bunny mutants standing next to Krang and Shredder. You know, they look cool, like I said, and if you have the regular Bebop and Rocksteady, there's no surprise here with any of this stuff. I imagine Shredder's going like,
I don't care if you're wearing Easter Bunny costumes. If you fail me again, I will cut you out of them.
And just for the halibut, here's the Super 7 Ultimate Shredder standing next to Bebop and Rocksteady. And if we move him out of the way, you know, we can see, oh, come on. Forget Bebop. There's the Leonardo next to Rocksteady. And here's the Ultimate Bebop standing next to this Bebop in the bunny suit. And you know, man, I wish I would have had this Bebop during my Ultimate comparison breakdown and my Ultimates Bebop review. So, thanks for watching, and check out some of my other reviews. I have a ton of other Ninja Turtle reviews, and just recently I wrapped up doing a complete Ghostbusters movie toy retrospective and comparison battle. My goodness gracious, it was gigantic. I went through pretty much everything that Maddie, Diamond Select, and Hasbro put out, so check that out. And, you know, have you ever seen anything so absurd as this? This is the craziest thing, but it's really awesome.